Now today I'm going to talk about MRI CT scan findings in hydrocephalus, especially if you are suspecting increase in intracranial pressure. I know this might not be the best topic to present in ground as it's highly specialized, but I think there's a lot of relative points that will be very helpful for even the people who does ER or general pediatric to know. So this is my name, and you guys know me. The CSF. The production of the CSF, as you guys know, and as all our residents know, it happens in the lateral ventricle mainly with the choroidal plexus. And there's also some production in the fourth ventricle. And it will circulate through aqueduct salivus, then foramen of magenta and Loschke. And they go around the brain, then they go through the granulation, arachnoid granulation to be absorbed in the veins of the brain. Then we'll go to the back to the heart. Now here, this is more of showing the venous pulsation or the pulsation of the CSF fluid in the brain. Now, usually the CSF is produced as 500 milliliters per day. The turnover almost is 3.7 times a day. Because the whole amount is around 150, 140 ml of CSF. So if you produce 500 ml a day, that's mean you're going to change your CSF 4 times a day. Now looking at this photo, what's interesting, as we see here in the choroidal plexus, we will use the CSF. It will circulate down to aqueduct salivus, fourth ventricle, magenta and Loschke, and go around the brain, then go to the granulation tissue. And if you look here, you will see that the optic nerve is covered with the meninges, and it goes all the way to the eye, which means if you have increased intracranial pressure, it will reflect on the eye, and you will develop a papilledema. And this looking in the eye to look for a papilledema is really very important if you suspect increased intracranial pressure. And that's why they say that the eye is the window to the brain. Always try to look in the eye if you suspect increased intracranial pressure or any other disorder. Now, if you look at the component of the brain or anything in the skull, you will find the arterial blood is 30 ml, more or less. Venous blood is 120 ml. CSF is 150. We said it 500 ml per day is produced, so you change your CSF like 3.7 times a day, and the brain tissue is 1400 ml. That is, the component of your whatever you have in your skull. Now, just a reminder, there's different sequence to the MRI: T1, T2, flare. So if we ask Dr. Dino what's T1, it will be the fluid will look dark in T1. The white matter will be white, the dark matter will be dark. If you look at T2, the fluid is bright, the white matter will be dark, and the gray matter will be lighter. And the same thing is with the flare, but they take off the CSF signal out. Now this guy in the picture does anybody know who is this guy? Peter Mansfield, Paul Littlebird, Felix Bloch, Mike Sebastian, none of the above. Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? What? Different. 6, okay. Dina, what do you think about this guy? It's very good. That guy is really very well known and famous. Dr. Hamza.
We were saying maybe he's the guy from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's full beer, that is
KFC.
Yeah, KFC would be fine. Okay, so this guy is Paul Littlebird, This guy and Peter Mansfield are the two guys who did early research to lead to the development of MRI that we use nowadays. So this is the guy who did the major work to have MRI to look at the other people's brain now. Now, what are the radiographic features of increased intracranial pressure secondary to hydrocephalus on the MRI of the CAT scan? First of all, everybody should know if you suspect increased intracranial pressure, please don't do spinal tap for the resident before you image the patient. Patient is less than 18 months, it is relatively safe, but I have seen kids with 3 months or 4 months with an intracranial pressure of 35. Because there is a limit to how much you can expand. So if you see a very dense, tense fontanelle, you are suspect. With the florid papillary edema, always I will do brain CT scan at least before I do spinal tap. So the brain imaging is very important to do in case if you suspect intracranial pressure. That is why, because I want to look for brain tumor, I want to look for dural sinus thrombosis, and I want to look for hydrocephalus. Now, if you see a brain tumor, or if you see increased intracranial pressure, but it is unequal, like one side, like the left ventricle has a brain tumor, it's a lot more dangerous to have herniation than if you have a diffuse intracranial pressure, like in the case of benign intracranial hypertension. Now, what are the features when I look at the MRI or the CAT scan? What are the things I would look for? See if they might indicate increased intracranial pressure. One of the first things is slit-like ventricles. Second thing is the optic nerve. You have to look at the optic nerve. The optic nerve, you can see prominent subarachnoid space around the optic nerve, and I will show you that. You can have a papillary edema, and there is also pseudopapillary edema. You can also have vertical tortuosity of the optic nerve. I will show you all these on an image. And you can have enhancement of the pre-laminar optic nerve. Which portion is the pre-laminar optic portion? The optic nerve, which part is the pre-laminar part? Dina? I'll show you in a minute. Then you can also have partial empty cystatosis. Now the dural sinus venous thrombosis, if you suspect it, you cannot just tell it on the regular MRI or the CAT scan. You have to do MRI or CT, right? And these changes might be regressive. Now let's look at this picture. If you look at the CAT scan here, the ventricle looks okay. There is effacement of the sulci. You see, you don't even see any spaces in the sulci. It's very dense, very full. Everything is full in the spaces. If you look at the basal cistern here, you barely can see, right? This is every single physician who does LB should know that. If you see this area not open, don't do spinal tap, because the risk of herniation is very high. And if it's closed and you do spinal tap and the kid end up in trouble, you're going to be in trouble. Because if this basal cistern is not open, that's very high risk for herniation. Everybody has to know that. Now we sit in the eye, you will see kinking or tortuosity of the optic nerve. This is, guys, the optic nerve. You see it here? This is the eye, this is the optic nerve. It's kinking. That's one of the signs that you might see in case of increased intracranial pressure. The optic sheath, if you look here, guys, from here to here, the optic sheath is very prominent. So there's prominent optic sheath in this case. And if you look at the sclera or the back of the eye, look how flattened it is. And it is also elevated. This also might indicate there's a papillary edema. And if you look at the other eye, you will see also flattening of the posterior part of the eye. You will see a lot of fluid around the optic nerve. This is the optic nerve. These all might indicate increased intracranial pressure. One time I was reviewing a patient with Dr. Kuro in Columbus Children's Hospital, and the report said there is a patulous optic sheath. It might be indicative of increased intracranial pressure. So I was a fellow. I did not, ignore that. Then I discussed with Dr. Kuro. He told me, look, you really have to go back and double check on that, because this patient might have increased intracranial pressure. Could be benign increased intracranial hypertension. Okay. Now, if you look at the eye here on this sagittal view, here's the optic nerve. You can see that the optic sheath is very prominent. Fluid on T2 look bright. You can also see, look at the globe. It is flattened over here. This also might indicate increased intracranial pressure. So in case, if you are suspecting a patient who has increased, that he might have increased intracranial pressure, if you look at this finding and you find it, this will support your suspicion. Now, if you look over here on this section, this is a flattening, we said. Okay, so we talked about the optic nerve here, we talked about the globe here, the finding here. There is mild, I'm really not convinced they're mild, you know, tonsillar herniation here. Yeah, this is probably the bone, but they reported in the MRI that there's mild tonsillar herniation that I can't see here. Usually this should extend below the plan line here, but this is mild tonsillar herniation that you can see in increased intracranial hypertension. If you look at the eye here also, that's very important. This is the optic nerve. You see the fluid around it. Here, look at the. You see that the optic nerve here. You see the fluid around it. This is the dural sinus. You see here the transverse side, what looked like a stenosis, cut. The left one is almost absent. What they did, they went ahead and they did the spinal tap on this guy and they drained the whole fluid. Then they repeated the MRI. So compare this one to this one. This is the optic nerve. There's not much fluid around the optic nerve. Okay? So it is reversible. The left dural sinus or the transverse sinus, see here was almost absent. It's back to normal here, and the stenosis is gone. So this finding can be reversible. Now in this case, you pretty much see the same thing. Optic nerve, fluid around the optic nerve, tortuosity of the optic nerve here. You see the fluid also here, and flattening of the globe in the back. You see also hypoplasia or thinning of the transverse sinus. This could be indicative of increased intracranial pressure.
Would you call that abnormal?
It can be 6 all the time. If you don't have, it's a
as a variant.
Yeah, the most common is variant, but in this case, because all of these are in the same patient, they are showing you, this is the optic nerve. This can look this way, but if you do the spinal tap, it might go back to normal. But we see it all the time. This could be hypoplastic. The most common cause for the left or the right transverse sinus to be asymmetrical is congenital hypoplastic. Okay? Now in this MRI, here the optic nerve again, you see it's fluid around the optic nerve, very clear. Flattening of the globe here, it's also very clear. You can also see here almost partly empty sella torsica. If you look here, this is the sella torsica, it's almost empty. This is always 70% of the time, this can be a sign of increased intracranial pressure. And if you look at this CAT scan here, do you see anything you have that would bother you in this CAT scan? Like, are you happy about the basal cistern? Are you happy about the lateral ventricles? Abdullah?
No.
Sayyid Rasul. The basal cistern here, they are almost closed. Okay? And the ventricles here are slit like ventricles. This can be indicative of increased intracranial pressure. Can be. None of these is pathognomonic. They can be indicative of increased intracranial pressure. And then this also MRI T2 cut. You can see also the area of the sella torsica here. It's almost empty and it's full of fluid. Now, they did the study. They did the study and they said, you know what? Let's look into that into more details. So they did a retrospective study where patients who had trauma, increased intracranial pressure secondary to trauma, and they were sedated in the ICU. They went and they put intracranial monitor, and they went also and they measured the optic nerve sheath diameter. They used a special protocol for that. So So they measure the optic sheath diameter here, and at the same time they were measuring invasively the intracerebral pressure. And they said, let's see, does this really correlate with the increase in intracranial pressure or it does not? So they went and did this for almost 38 patients who were sedated and they were intubated in the ICU, and they compared it to 36 healthy volunteers. And they measured the optic nerve sheath diameter. This was done on the T2 cup, and they were using thermospin echo, and they used also 3 Tesla MRI. This is more specification for the MRI. And at the same time, they measured the ICP's invasively. So they found out that optic nerve sheath diameter, the sheath around the optic nerve, is significantly greater in patients with traumatic brain injury patient. If you have more than 20 millimeter, which is the cut for not obese people, intracranial pressure, if you have more than 20 millimeter pressure, they define it as increased intracranial pressure. They found that most of these patients, the optic nerve sheath diameter was 6.31 plus minus 0.5 millimeter. And this is in 19 patients. Then in those with ICP of less than 20, which is they have normal ICP, they found that this value was 5.2, less than 5.29 plus minus. So they said that if a patient has brain trauma, increasing intracranial pressure, you can use the MRI and T2 cut, and you can measure the optic nerve sheath diameter to predict if this patient has increased intracranial pressure or not. So this is mainly in one study, but this can be very helpful in patients where you don't have, for example, people who can put ICP, intracerebral pressure monitor. And this is the way they did it. They went 3 millimeter behind the globe, and they zoomed it up. They measured optic nerve sheath diameter and the optic nerve diameter, and they came up with the value that we just talked about. Conclusion. So what did the study conclude? They said that in sedated patient with traumatic brain injury, ONSD measured using conventional brain T2 strongly correlate with invasive ICP. They found that 5.0, 5.4, 5.82 and above highly correlate with that, 5.3 and less highly negate that against the increase in intracranial pressure. Now, this is an MRI.
But that study is in adults.
Yes, in adults, of course.
Those values in pediatrics will be different.
You can divide by 2 in pediatrics.
by the weight, yeah.
Or you can correct height for it. It's more of, I present the study to tell you that there's a lot of things are being done and we are not aware of it, but it can be very extremely helpful. Now, if you look at this MRI, and I tell you, Nora, what do you see in this MRI? First, what is the cut? Flare cut, right? Fluid is dark. Gray matter is lighter, white matter is darker. What do you see generally? Whenever there is a fluid, you lost something to fill with the fluid. Remember that. So you see very much generalized atrophy. You see generalized atrophy. The lateral ventricles, are they normal? Deep.
It's dilated.
Dilated lateral ventricle, which is mainly hydrocephalus, right? And what about these things? Around the lateral ventricle. Transepithelial exudate. Now, can this be chronic ischemic? Can this be atrophy with a chronic CNS vasculitic disease? We see a lot of the time the other people. It can. But if you look here, what they are trying to say here, if you have a flare image, remember the flare image, if you have acute hydrocephalus, this will be very helpful to look for transepithelial edema that Dr. Dina pointed to. You can see here the line, this is more of edema around the ventricle, because the ventricle, they are squeezing out the brain, and the fluid is going through the brain tissue. So this will give you the transepithelial edema. If you look at the cell side, for example, look at this one. and look at this one. It is not the typical atrophy you see. It's more of square, dilated, or ballooned down. They are ballooned down. This fits more with increased intracranial pressure. In this case, if I ask you, is this communicating or non-communicating hydrocephalus? Most likely non-communicating, because you have dilation from outside and dilation from inside. The non-communicating, and I will show you cases, you will have dilated lateral ventricle, third ventricle, but the rest of the brain should be fine. Okay? And if you look at the temporal horn of the lateral ventricle here, you see, guys, the white marker here, and the white signal. This is all transependymal edema because the ventricle are squeezing the fluid through the tissue. Okay. And the third ventricle, and you see also a problem here, right? Okay. So they did the sagittal T1 MRI, and they looked and they found the lateral ventricle is dilated. There is a mass. Look at this ventricle to the third ventricle, causing dilatation of the lateral ventricles. Here, and this might cause trapped ventricles, which is an emergency. It has to be treated right away. So this patient has colloid cyst that causes lateral ventricle dilatation, mainly on the left side. So the way to treat that, you have to take the coronary versus out. Okay. Now here, what do you guys see? What do you think about the lateral ventricle? Dilated. What do you think about the third ventricle? Really dilated, right? What do you think about the aqueduct of Silarius? Stenoid? Excellent. Now here, the third ventricle dilated, the lateral ventricle dilated. Look how much the optic chiasm and the hypothalamic stalk is pushed down. It's ballooned down. Because the anterior part of the third ventricle is really dilated. What is this structure here? Mammillary body, right? Mammillary body. And this is the part. The area from here to here they call mammallo-pontine angle or mammallo-pontine distance. So this when the fluid pushed down, it can be decreased. So this is also one of the signs for increasing intracranial pressure. Also, this picture shows the same thing, but what's different? What is the difference between this picture and this picture? Abdullah, look here. Look at the dictum of the midbrain. Very awesome, lovely. And look here, you see a mass. So this is most likely tictal tumor or tictal glioma. Most of the time, these are benign. They cause the biggest problem. They cause hydrocephalus or acute hydrocephalus, right? So what is the way to treat them?
ETV. ETV.
ETV. Okay. Who can explain that?
So you do endoscopic third ventricular.
So it's very simple. They come here and they open a hole here, and the fluid will drain in the other way. What do you call it in the thoracic?
ETV.
Okay. Now, that's another dilated ventricle secondary to hydrocephalus. Ahmed, what do you think about the lateral ventricles? From a neonatologist point of view. Really dilated, right? What do you think about the third ventricle? Really dilated, right? Okay, and can you tell what might be the cause here? Aqueductal stenosis here and aqueductal stenosis here. If you see the lateral third ventricle dilated, the fourth ventricle is normal, you are talking about aqueductal stenosis and proven outcomes. Right? And what is the mode of inheritance? The classical mode of inheritance? Okay? Autosomal dominant? Any other? Excellent. Okay. Now, this MRI in 6.5 months infant is seen by Dr. Wasim, and he has this MRI. As a physician, you want to tell the family because he's a neurosurgeon in the community want to shut this kid or put him on acetazolamide or put them on acetazolamide or something. And they have seen kids came to me with acetazolamide for this. What do you think about this one? Is it thrombocephalus, benign extracranial hydrocephalus, sentinel cephali? I need to ask a friend. None of the above. Hiba, I know you're going to say I need to ask a friend. Okay, who would agree with him?
Nura is a good.
Nura is agree. Why do you want to call this benign external hydrocephalus? Ali. Why do you want to call it benign? Yes, it's you, yeah.
The subdural fluid is increased, and the vertical
Where increased?
frontally.
Excellent.
The vertical size is normal, although in external hydrocephalus might be large also.
Excellent.
The other thing, clinically,
Wait, patient doing well, no problem. Fontaine ulnar bulging, usually they have a large head or macrocephaly from the frontal part. And if you see here, what are these? Transversing veins. So that's always tell you that's most likely hydrocephalus. Okay, so it's
benign.
huh?
Benign.
Why it's called benign? It has no problem. It does not cause any sequelae for the patient, and it resolved by 2 years of age by itself. It does not need anything. I have a patient came to me. They need to do shock for him. Another patient they brought him acetazolamide and sent him to me. So even though it might, once you see it, you will know it right away. So it's idiopathic. It's due to immature cerebrospinal fluid drainage, and they use the criteria 5 millimeter between the skull and the cerebral matter, or between the interhemispheric area as a 5 millimeter. But clinically, plus the MRI, this always can tell you that this is what is the case. You don't have to do anything about it. Now, in this patient, the first one has atrophy, and the second two do have increased or hydrocephalus with increased the pressure. If you look at the atrophy, you will find in this case abnormal corpus callosum. Do you think this is normal or thin? Thin corpus callosum. Look at the vermis. There is also hypoplasia of the vermis, and also look also at the pons and the medulla. They are remember, these are the pathway. The pathway come from the brain, and then they get condensed in the brain stem. This is more reflection of the brain cells in the cerebral hemisphere. They are also very thin. In this case, if you look at the cerebral, the vermis is normal. You can compare this to this one. Unfortunately, the corpus callosum is not. You cannot see it here full, but you can tell. Look at here how thin it is, and look here. You can see it is thicker. But sometimes when you have increased pressure, it can be ballooned out. It can be ballooned out. And here you can see decreased mammillo-pontine distance, large lateral ventricles, big third ventricles, and also big fourth ventricle. So in this case, you would be thinking of what as a cause? Aqueductal stenosis or communicating hydrocephalus? Communicating hydrocephalus, okay?
So how can you differentiate between cerebellar atrophy and cerebellar hypoplasia?
What's the question?
Cerebellar atrophy and cerebellar hypoplasia.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Hypoplasia, correct me if I'm wrong, Khalid or Wasim. The hypoplasia, this is something usually congenital. It did not grow to its potential size. So the patient was born this way. The vermis is small, they never grow to be big. When the atrophy, they grow, then they lose.
So
This is the classic.
what do you mean is if you have 2 scans and you see a change from one normal to a small cerebellum, that's your otherwise.
That's why I have to have 2 studies to compare.
Yeah, you can't differentiate on a single scan.
Okay.
Because remember, the atrophy are losing cells.
Yes.
The hypoplasia is going to be always there.
So when we talk about atrophy, does it uniform? Like it does cover the whole brain matter, or it can affect
It
parts
could
of
be
it?
different parts, could be vermi.
And what about hypoplasia?
It could also take, that's why you cannot differentiate in just one scan. They could look exactly the same.
A lot of the time we see cerebellar vermis hypoplasia. You can see diffuse brain atrophy, cerebellar atrophy. So it can be either way. Okay. Now here in this case, what do you think about this scan? Don't read what's here. What do you think about this scan? Look normal, right? Look at the corpus callosum. Awesome, thick. Look at the third ventricle. It is not ballooned out. It's not pushing anything here, right? Look at the mamello-pontine distant. It looks normal. Look at the aqueductus falaris. It's beautiful in the sagittal. And the fourth ventricle is nice, right? So this is more of a normal MRI scan. And they were trying to see, this is the normal distance, and there is a variance for distance based on the age or the adult. The way they measure it, they will take from the mammillary area, mammillary body here, up to the top of the palms. Now, another question. This MRI is consistent with Joubert syndrome, CDG, congenital disorder of glycosylation, Meckel-Cave tumor, Mickey Mouse syndrome, rhombocephalocinosis. Now, before you answer this question, Dr. Dina, can you tell me where is the Meckel-Cave? You tell me left, right, up, down. Left, anterior. And we just talked about this like last day. This is Meckel-Cave area here. This is the internal carotid artery, and this is the Meckel-Cave. يعني it does not look, it doesn't have anything, it doesn't have a huge tumor, it doesn't have anything different. I don't see anything. Okay. So this option probably is not likely. Congenital disorder of glycosylation. What is the hallmark when you see as a neurologist or a neuroradiologist know the congenital disorder of glycosylation? What's the hallmark finding on the MRI, the sagittal looking at the pons as well as at the vermis of the cerebellum? Excellent. So do you see atrophy here? You see the pons? Look. We call it the pregnant lady. Look, it's very nice, big. And this is the vermis. This is huge. I mean, I think he has extra vermis. And this is big. So this is most likely is not the case here. Now, Joubert syndrome.
That's called an AQT.
An AQT. Ahmed. No, what? Read the question. Okay.
He was on call last night.
Joubert syndrome, what is the finding typical MRI? Molar tooth. Do you see a molar tooth here? No. Now, do you guys see Mickey Mouse here? Okay, so what's the answer? No, wrong. This is normal. This is your mid-brain. This is, I always tell the kids, we all like Mickey Mouse because you have Mickey Mouse in your brain. So that is the normal mid-brain. If you don't have this one, you really need to see your neurologist. Problem. Then what do we have left? Rhombocephalocinosis, right? Now here, what is rhombocephalocinosis?
It's diagnosed by exposure.
This is not a question. The question, what is rhombocephalocinosis?
There is a type of error.
Yes, there's type of error. You see here, look at the cerebellum. Look at the cerebellum here. People who are used to look at the MRI, the cerebellum here look like a mouthfish appearance. There is no cleavage. Okay, remember you have left and right hemisphere. Here all are in love and or attached to other. So this is what we call cerebellum hemisphere are fused together. So this is what we call rhombocephalocinosis. Clear? Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, next. Now we're gonna pass this one. Okay, I want to just show you guys a website, and I really want you to look at this one if we can open the internet hopefully here. This website, if you are interested in learning anything about MRI, we just would be really very helpful for you to know this website. I just discovered this website like 2 or 3 days ago. This is the MRI. This is which section is this one? T1, right? White matter is white, gray matter is dark. This is sagittal, right? Beautiful, lovely MRI. And this is corona. What is nice about this website, if Dr. Alsayouf or Dr. Khalid or Dr. Wasim in the morning report ask you a question about MRI, and your iPad, you can just point to this structure, and then it will come to you in the below what is this structure. Okay, Abdullah? Very nice, right? If you wanna, for example, learn about MRI, I don't know what's this structure here, body lateral ventricle. You have to correlate it always with the coronal. What is this structure? Body corpus callosum. What is this structure? Vermis. Okay.
This looks more like the government monitoring our thoughts.
What is this structure, Dina? Thalamus, right? It's very beautiful. What is this one? Superior curriculi, which is the midbrain, and this is the pons. This is the midbrain. This is the medulla oblongata. So this website is phenomenal. Now, if you go to the home page, you will find a lot of neuroradiology cases, and if you go to other modules, you will find a lot of other modules for CT, MRI, base of skull, for everything.
Next by spine and the bone.
Can you send it to all of us through
I will email it out to you, but really this is very helpful. Just to get you still orienting with this, and it's free. The last time I was looking for something like this, they were asking me to pay probably 200,000-300,000 dirham. You can take a photo of that.
Just to send it through Eve to all the people. There's a link.
Sure, we'll send it as a link. Okay? Questions?
So what happened to the prelaminar optic nerve stuff you told us?
Forget about it. This is going to be, I will ask you to be continued. I'm going to tell you next time. No, I will tell you what is this one. Okay, so the prelaminar part is, this is the globe, this is the sclera, this is the optic nerve. The part frontal to that, if the is called the prelaminar optic nerve. Did you get it? This is the optic nerve. This is the globe. The part of the optic nerve that is anterior to the sclera, which is intraorbital, you might not see it here, okay?
Intraocular.
When you look, intraocular is what? Prelaminar optic nerve. Something new, okay? Any question, guys? Comments, questions?